Mine is a comment on the allegation that figures are being cooked at Bomas. It is unfortunate that those who are saying that figures are being cooked know the truth and they want to confuse the masses. So this particular tape is related to the masses, those who do not know. I will start from the time when we had ECK. When a presiding officer closes the polling station, he or she signs some document or places things in different forms. All the forms and all the documentation of the ECK are still retained by IEBC. The only difference in a polling station which the IEBC brought and which is relevant to the discussion is to do with numbers of valid ballots. During the ECK time, there were ballots which the presiding officer could not make a decision. So he would take or she would take those ballots to the constituency tallying center. During the ECK time, the returning officer could not change what was written in the Form 16A. The only changes the returning officer would make in the 16A while preparing 16B was a presiding officer would come with an envelope with disputed ballot. He would say that or the presiding officer would be unable to make a decision. So the presiding officer would surrender the mandate of making that decision to the returning officer. So when the returning officer was making Form 16B, he or she, that is the RO, would tabulate all Form 16S from all polling stations and streams, all polling streams. He or she would tabulate them and then additionally make a decision on the disputed ballot paper. So you may find that if you tabulate all stations within a constituency, all candidates will retain the number of ballot papers they were given at the polling station, but there is a few additional, there is no subtraction, there is a few additional that the ECK used to add for those that the presiding officer was unable to do. But due to our election history, it was decided that the presiding officer, while filling in 34A, decides whether to vote for this candidate or that candidate or even declare it rejected. So trying to imagine that Form 34A, which was filled in the polling station, can be altered at any place, it is impossible. And the IEBC has said repeatedly that in case of two or more figures that do not agree, for example, at the polling station, a candidate is given so many ballots, and then at the tallying center, either constituency, county, or even national, if at all any document can be proven, that there is an addition or subtraction, then the figures that was written at the polling station stands. Suppose the three returning officers, the constituency returning officer, the county returning officer, and the national returning officer discover some discrepancies. The election laws makes it that they cannot change. So whoever notices any changes, for example, at the polling station, the number of ballots do not rhyme with what actually happened. Or at the tabulation, at the county, at the constituency, county or national level, if you discover such discrepancies, there is only one person who can change the results that the presiding officer, I say presiding officer of the polling station, the only authority that can alter that is an election court. So instead of creating scenes at Bomas, instead of coming up with stories and whatever, if you have any evidence, I've not been to Bomas for this exercise, and I'm not in a position to know whether such a thing has happened or not. If there is evidence, kindly collect it, wait for the person to be announced, then take the matter to the election court. Period.